is it to take your first step in the LCS this year?
It feels really insane, like going from nothing to winning every tournament in France and now winning in LCS. It's really insane for me, so I'm really happy now, right now.
Do you feel like it's a challenge for you?
Kinda, yeah. I really want to prove myself this year, so to prove that I deserve to be in LCS. So yeah.
Well, for the moment, it's a very good start. I mean, you have to play along Steelback, who is a very experienced player. What did you learn from him?
I learned a lot from Steelback. Like he's been playing LCS for like 3 years now, so he's been teaching me how to position it on the map, on the lane, and yeah, really improved a lot since the beginning of the LCS.
Well, I hope you guys can grow together. Thank you very much for joining me, and congratulations again. We're gonna get it back to Shox and the analyst desk.
Merci, Bully. Fantastic to hear from Targamas. Not someone actually that we've heard from so much, as he is new, and I didn't get to follow him that much in his career previously, and also all the attention is going to Ruin on that team, so I think he might be glad that he gets to say a word.
It's great to see today what else he was able to bring out with the Taric, because one of the things that we've recognized about his play over the last 2 weeks is that his Tahm Kench is extremely good. The way in which he's always turning up for team fights, always in a position to help set up tempo advantages across the map. For such a young player to be able to quickly and decisively make those kind of decisions, it's great to see.
And from Giants taking a step back as a whole, again, week 2, they just keep delivering, basically.
Oh, yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any slowing down for them.
It's really great to see this young kind of ragtag roster just come together and do so well. Now, against a team like H2K, who seem to now be struggling a little bit, you have to wonder how long Giants can keep this up for. But the fact that they were able to take down G2 yesterday, you think of nothing but positive thoughts about this roster.
Definitely so, and I think for a couple of the members on that roster, like a Betsy, like a Steelback, they've only ever known in recent past bad starts with the teams. You know, they had to ramp up and then get some upset wins or some wins nearing the end of the split. It's going to be interesting to see how they do with this momentum now, because this is also a new thing for them.
Exactly that, because remember, we are in a best-of-1 format. Only 18 games now available to secure your spot in the playoffs. And getting these early wins is not only going to do a lot in terms of their confidence, but for the rookies too, it builds up their morale. It means that the atmosphere is positive. And overall, this team is definitely in a positive direction.
Well, we will see how it evolves. And as we speak, Roccat and the Unicorns of Love are setting up on stage for our next matchup. And we've talked a lot about how Roccat have a history of bringing on the best in Europe, or bringing out players that then turn out to be the best in Europe. But now it seems that they are doing really well with, again, the talent they brought on, in particular that bottom lane, Norskeren and Hikyu. Not names that you jump out of your seat out if you heard them before the split, but they are making the plays.
Exactly that. So Norskeren, he's an individual that spent the last 2 years in Challenger. Most recently, he was playing on Schalke, and funnily enough, he 3-0'd NIP, which had Hikyu and Prophet on it, who he is now teammate with. So this guy, he hasn't really been at the highest level of pro play. His name has been seen around, but he's not really anyone that stood out. But upon joining this team and joining with Hikyu, he seems to be finding his form. And I love the performance that he's had on Braum specifically, the way he's been able to disengage a lot of fights, make it impossible for teams, especially teams like Splice yesterday, to find the initiations, because he's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to give you that opportunity. I'm always in the right place at the right time. My team's going to stand behind me and I'm going to take them to victory.
Yeah, it seems like we also got a look at their water micro, seem to be sharing that as well. Good for them. He's also from the north of Norway.
Northern Norway, yes.
Northern Norway. You know who else is from the north of Norway?
Tell me, who is...
Nico de Pico, as far as I know. So truly a talent factory up there in the north
Exactly
of Norway.
that.
I wonder what they are doing there. Well, we will see. So that bot lane is doing well, and let's take a look at their opponents, because Roccat off to a great start. On the other hand, the Unicorns of Love is still looking for their first win, and a player that we have our eyes on are Cold. Can he make things happen for that squad? He has been bringing out some interesting picks. We had him on the post-game lobby yesterday. He said, well, I'm happy in the team. I think there is a good atmosphere. There's a good way we talk about the games. But for us, watching the games and as analysts standing outside, we just want to see those W's, and they're not there yet.
Yeah, as of right now, Unicorns of Love seem to be struggling to work entirely as a team. Sometimes we've seen them get early advantages, yet they aren't quite able to close things out, largely due to a couple of individual errors. But looking specifically at Cole, he's kind of the big facilitator for this team. He's changed his playstyle so much compared to when he was back on Splice over the last 2 years, where he was much more about utility, more about being a tank, a front line, and really supporting the other carries on his team. He is now trying to be the carry. He is now trying to be the one that can set up his team for success and run away with it. And that's why we've seen more of these aggressive junglers. However, the issue is, due to some of the poor performances, as you mentioned, from some of the individuals, especially like the likes of the veterans of Exile and Samux, it is making it difficult for them to work together, to translate.
You're dancing around it. Exile is still not playing well. We just have to say it. He's still finding his form and probably also finding a synergy with, again, new members on his squad. But it is turning into a bit of a liability, especially if also that bottom lane of Samux, who has been a really good performer for Unicorns of Love last year, is not there yet. So what should Cole do in that scenario? In this matchup specifically, he's up versus Memento, who does exert a lot of pressure as well. So is it going to be his job to defend the lanes that are suffering, or just try and find advantages elsewhere? Let's say top.
It becomes a challenge, right? Because if your laners are just struggling during the laning phase, trying to help them get out of that could actually hurt you more than it can actually benefit you. So I feel like for Cold, he should continue to play around topside White Knight. He is an individual that I felt has had solid performances over the last 2 weeks, and given the current metagame, investing towards the top side is a great answer. But when you look across the side for Memento, he's just an individual that seems to have completely changed up his style, where he used to be this big carry in the past. He wanted to be the guy that proved that he was the best jungler right from the get-go, but he's learned from his experiences. He said in an interview yesterday that he wants to be the leader. He wants to take this team and take them to new heights. And for him, it means taking a step back, setting up his team for success, and providing that utility and kind of tank frontline that we've seen from him in things like his SAC performances.
To me, it's a very similar story to some of the members on Giants. For Roccat, Memento, also not someone who had the biggest success in the past, is getting a great start. His synergy with Blanc is already great. He's making those ganks happen. He's making those early kills happen that propels his team forward. So I feel like they can thrive off this confidence. While on the other hand, for the Unicorns of Love, it is just, they need to start getting some confidence. They need to start getting at least one win so they have something to build on.
And I think that confidence comes from comfort.
Yep.
The best game we've seen from Exile so far was when he had Ryze. Yes, okay, if the Ryze is banned away from him, you need to find new comfort picks. But I do believe he has them. Champions like the Vladimir, he had a lot of success on last year. And I think that if they just put him back, along with Samux, on those kind of comforts, then Cold can better play around those lanes and set up the Unicorns for success.
Well, the players are about ready. I'm just going to quickly ask for your predictions. Who's taking this one home?
Expectation for me is Roccat.
Roccat for Veri as well. Can the Unicorns of Love secure their first win with the new roster, or will Roccat take their third in a row? Let's head over to Pyra and the Fisho to find out.
Thank you very much, Shox. Well, the pressure's on Roccat, I feel, because Giants took their third game, so now
they gotta keep up.
The underdogs want to keep rising. I guess the undercats in this point. The Roccat Reddit guy was the one who corrected
I saw
me on
that one. We can't really call them underdogs anymore.
No, I mean, they're playing so well. I feel like the Unicorns, by all definitions, are going to be underdogs in this. Now, before we get into picks and bans, let's take a look at the team starting on the blue side with Team Roccat. Up in the top lane, it's Prophet in the jungle, looking to be that leader. It is Memento. Blanc in the mid lane. Heq the AD carry, and their support, Norscarin, along with Coach Freddy122.
Memento and Blanc, two of the members we're really looking at on this Roccat lineup. On the other side, though, Pyro, they're playing Unicorns of Love, the only team to not win a game in the EU LCS so far here in 2018. White Knight is in the top lane, Cold, formerly known as Trashy, in the jungle, Exile mid lane, Samux AD carry, Totoro support, and Sheepy is still behind the team as the coach. The crowd likes
And the crowd is behind Sheepy as well. I feel like this team is still kind of searching for their identity right now. It had a lot of changes. The backbone of the team, Visit Chachi and Hillisang, obviously went off and joined separate teams. And Unicorns are kind of building, not totally from the ground up, but it's definitely a new foundation.
It's, I think there's a lot of problems for them right now. One of them is, lack of identity. Another one is just individual mistakes happening in the game. So it makes it really difficult then to suddenly win if randomly your mid laner dies at level 3 or takes a bad trade and then he's back in base, or you make a wrong engage in the bot lane or top lane, whatever it is. The mechanical part needs to be better from Unicorns, and then they can actually start winning games.
It's going to be a tough task for Exile up against Blanc this time around. We'll see what they end up locking in, though. Picks and bans have started. Zoe is off the table. Not a whole lot of surprise there.
And Unicorns of Love have had a fairly unique priority in the pick and ban phase. We've seen first pick Evelynn. They
first ban Evelynn.
Also first ban. They first picked Braum yesterday, which also surprised me quite a lot, even with all supports available. But they really wanted that pick down in the bottom lane. Didn't really show us why in the game, so maybe we get to see that here. But they showed insane priority on that one specific support.
I don't know necessarily if it has to do so much on comfort levels, but I do know that Totoro was a really big Braum player back in his brief time in the LCK.
Sure, I mean, it's not always a great thing if you have to first pick it when the enemy team just grabs Tam Kench and they're like, hey, thank you. You didn't actually gain anything with your first pick. And blue side right now is considered the strongest side in pick and ban phase because there's so many strong picks that even if you only get to pick one at first, in the next round there's still 2 of the very strong picks left for you to grab. And now with the first pick, you just get to decide which one you want the most. Is it Sejuani? Is it Azir? In this case, with the Rise ban for Roccat. Well then, you can grab it with the first pick, and you're not losing too much on the other side because there's so many good picks.
Yeah, a lot of viable things, of course. Unicorns, the Rise ban, the less conventional Evelyn ban. What else are they going to opt to remove? It was a smattering of roles on Rockat's side with a mid laner, a jungler, an AD carry all banned away. So trying to mix things up. And there's that Tom Kench banned away. Deficio's happy.
Unicorns definitely want to get the Braum in their first rotation if Roccat doesn't grab it. Azir is open. If you're Roccat though, you might actually not grab Azir just because Exile's performance on it was so bad yesterday that you're actually fine with him grabbing it, and you can save it for later if there's something else you want to first pick. But with the current bans, I think Azir first pick is fine.
Yeah.
Also things like Kalista and Israel available, so there were definitely a lot of options for them.
Yeah, clearly they trusted Blanc a little bit more, at least wanted to give him that option. Now, we've seen Cold play a number of very different champions than back when he was known by the moniker Trashy, but this is a lot more in his wheelhouse. I think they were just flashing it for the fun. And Unicorns of Love might be mixing things up a little bit here. It still might be that support first pickup.
See, here I'm trying to predict the Braum because they first pick it yesterday, and then they switch it up, it looks like,
Surprise
and now they want to play Alistar, so...
Okay.
I'm glad to see Alistar. He's the kind of champion...
Kalista!
Okay, that's nice.
All right, I like this.
All right. Unicorns of Love, aggressive bot lane, can promote a lot more. Focus around that one if you want to try and get some kills, especially after level 6, where you can tower dive with Alistar. I like this switch here for that bottom lane. Roccat can still just go Braum if they want to. It is available for them. It is the best support left, so...
Might as well. I mean, at some point, when you're hurling the Alistar in, that's an unstoppable force, and then the Braum, he's an immovable object, so he's going to be able to stop things up.
We could see Israel here for HQ, trying to get a champion that can actually dodge away from things like, you know, Kalista Alistar. At least plays a little bit safer. Tristana also one of the picks to look at.
I feel like the Tristana might be a little bit more what they want to do, but there's another option entirely, and it's the Caitlyn. So a lane bully paired up with the Braum.
If they are pushing this bottom lane, Unicorns of Love can try and punish it with this combination bot.
That was a quick side lock in.
All right, it is a flex choice. Exile used to be a big Vladimir player in mid. It is, of course, also still a choice for top lane, and we have seen Faker grab the Vladimir against Azir specifically.
How'd that work out?
He lost the game, but his laning phase was fine.
Well, there
Sadly
you go.
for Faker and SKT, they lose a lot of games right now.
Well, it's a new season, that's for sure, over in Korea as well as everywhere else. But back here in Europe, ban phase 2, we start up. The Nars banned away from Prophet. Back over to Roccat. It's the only champion Prophet's played so far, so we'll have to dip his feet into the pool.
He can just grab Ornn or something.
Yeah.
Then
Speaking of SKT, did you know Prophet used to play for them?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever said that here on this
I don't
broadcast.
think so. Not once.
It was definitely not our one storyline for Prophet last split.
Okay. Zach is going to get banned.
And with this Vladimir being a flex choice for Unicorns, we have to see if they still want to keep target top lane and potentially just put the Vladimir top and still pick something against Azir here. Exile has always been a person who's had a bit of a unique champion pool and not been afraid of grabbing some of the non-meta picks if he needed to. In this case here, if he wants to try and grab his Kassadin against Azir, he can. He will lose early game, but late game it does work okay. I wouldn't really call it a counter by any means, but it is an option for him.
No, but they are definitely trying to bamboozle Roccat a little bit, giving themselves some more options. Now, there are a lot of jungle bans. The Sejuani, the Zac, the Jarvan, all of them Roccat have banned away from the Unicorns of Love. But Cold's been playing these carry junglers.
Yeah.
Does he stick to this strategy? The Rengar is up.
I mean, Rengar is an option.
Pain again.
Skarner is also a thing we've seen more and more in the EU LCS. So there's enough choices here for Cold, but Memento as well. Memento used to be a huge carry jungler. Like back when Graves was meta, he played it all the time. So I think for him, he can also just respond with a Gragas, which we have seen at least once, but if he wants to try and go toe-to-toe with the Rengar here, we need to see something more aggressive from his side.
That'd be pretty cool to see, in all honesty. I think you having a little bit of fun.
Freddy special.
Yeah, the Freddy special. I guess you got to give that one to the team for certain. Orm was left up, of course, so
predicted.
Wouldn't be a whole lot surprising to see that one locked in for Profit, and it is. And now we get the answer. What does Memento play? Used to be the big carry jungler, wants to play more tanks these days, wants to be the big leader for Team Roccat.
Oh, does he want to play a Skarner this time around?
That's a tank.
They have engaged right now from the Ornn and can use the Skarner plus Caitlyn to just keep someone locked down for a long time. It is available. Jack's jungle is something I want to see.
There we go, Memento.
Finally.
How about that?
This is being played over in the LCK quite a lot. We also saw it in NA Academy League yesterday. Jack's jungle is really good against some of these other carry junglers because he can duel them very effectively due to his stun being so good in these 1v1 situations. And his base damage once he hits level 6 is very high, so he can actually build tank. And we get a GP top as well here from Unicorns of Love. So what I like is I see a lot of engage options, especially from Unicorns of Love, and I see a lot of squishy targets that can die very quickly.
Yeah, we are going to have a lot of action this game.
We actually promised that last game, and then HK didn't do anything.
We don't talk about
20
that.
minutes, and then Giants won.
People just tuned in for this one. They turned off last night. We got different audience official. It's okay.
Well, I like the fact Unicorns of Love finally get to show the Alistar. Alistar in Europe is either banned in some games or not touched at all in other games. And we finally get to see someone show us the Alistar, even better with the Kalista on the side of Samox.
Yeah, a good pairing. I like to see what they did with this one. Better draft out of Sheepy. We talked about this team trying to build themselves an identity. Well, I feel like no matter what, when you're wearing that pink jersey, something just switches on in your head. You want to be more aggressive. I want to see if Unicorns can fully embody that spirit up against Roccat. It's going to be a tough task against the 2-1 team. But can they do it? Can the Unicorns pick up their first one of the split, start their contention? Or will Roccat join Giants up near the top at 3-1?
We did talk about all the engage options from Unicorns of Love with Alistar, Kalista ulti, Rengar. Their entire draft does rely a lot on level 6 to really start enabling that. If you want the Kalista ulti, if you want the Rengar ult, Unicorns will be fine waiting for that first ulti mark before starting all the action.
Level 6. That's what we're going to be watching for.
Nobody ever makes a sign saying, the fish will give me a kiss.
I mean, you know, just because you're giving them the quick shot all the time.
I'm offering them.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm asking for them.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, see, now they're disappointed.
I know.
All right, it's nighttime on Summoner's Rift as we load up, and of course the Unicorns faithful always making noise in the crowd.
And you get Dematerializer for Exile as well. We talked about that last game already against Azir, how it's so effective to use against the cannon minions to kill them instantly. Provide a little bit more push for yourself in that mid lane. And it is that Exile Vladimir, as we also talked about, how it is an old pick for him.
Starting on the Ignite too.
And it is one of these champions where we have seen amazing late game team fights from Exile, and we have seen really strange early games where level 2, level 3, he could go for all ins and he would suddenly get caught under a turret and die. In this game here, we just want to see him farm for level 6, get cold to level 6 as well, and then you can start doing something, because there's no cleanse on blank side. He can't change these summoners, so a Rengar ulti is going to be very effective at trying to lock him down if they want to go for mid lane.
Yeah, and they might try to shut down Blank early on. He's been honestly striking fear in the hearts of mid laners across the European LCS. As we get this one underway, Cold's going to get the assist from White Knight. Meanwhile, his opposite number, Memento, will have the same from Prophet, starting off in red and blue, respectively. But as you mentioned, level 6, that's the mark we're looking for in this game, for the Unicorns decide to hit that go button.
Roccat side, a bit more focus on the scaling, go strong. Early duelist with the Jax here. And the first clear from Jax is not the greatest in the world. He can drop a little bit low from it, but once he gets past the first clear, he's more than fine in the jungle. And as I talked about already, the fact he has the stun makes it hard for other these duelists to kind of deal with him. Pure 1v1. So he ends up just getting a lot of farm. Doesn't necessarily have to look for a lot of ganks. And once he then gets to Cinderhulk, which is the common build from him, he gets fairly tanky as well with the stats he gets from the ulti when you level that one up and activate it. So Jax is one of these picks where you think he's just going to go raw damage and be a split pusher. But in this case, he's actually a bit more of a tank with just high base damage and who adds CC as well.
But of course, it's not just about the champion, it's also about the player that's piloting him. And you talked about it in Pick and Ban, Memento being the guy that wants to step up, become a carry for his team. We heard it on the analyst desk as well. And I feel like both these junglers, they've kind of had mirrored stories to one another, in all honesty. Cold, previously Trashy, he was kind of almost default that. The older guy on Splice for a long time, right? Settled in directly into this leadership role. But he used to play the tanks, now he plays the carries. Memento used to play the carries, and now he plays the tanks.
I'll still say Jax is enough of a carry for Memento to try and shine on it, but 100% with Cold here, big change for him trying to be one of the main damage threats on this new Unicorns of Love lineup. He obviously will rely on Samux and Exile to be the main carries in late game fights, and this game also White Knight on the GP. Bot lane, Rengar's first gank kind of requires Noscarin to walk up and show himself close to the brush. Hard to pull it off, so he just goes back to base.
Yeah, it's difficult to gank when there's a Braum. Of course, Hikyu talked about picking safe carries. You mentioned the Ezreal might have been a possibility, but on this Caitlyn, it's also definitely the case. Memento going up, getting a ward just outside of the Baron pit on the UOL side. We'll take a look up towards the top. Prophet had only ever played Gnar up until this point. Now he's on the Ornn, and we've seen some serious Ornn outplays. I'm wondering if Cold maybe doesn't decide to go up here, but he's spotted by a deep ward.
And Ornn is one of these champions that's so good on stage because games are slower, and his ulti gives you a lot of safe ways to try and start a fight because the range is so long, he doesn't really have to expose himself when he's doing it. And if he then connects it, well, then you have a way to start it and engage. So Ornn is just such an effective tank in many ways because he offers both utility and even some decent early game damage.
Yeah.
Good trade here between the bot lanes. Really want to see Killers to Alistar be aggressive, especially once they hit level 6.
Yet. Not just yet. Cold, who was sticking around for Prophet. Of course, I think everyone's a little wary of diving in Ornn after we saw what happened last time.
Memento is looking for something bot lane. They're going for Samux at the moment.
That's the exhaust. Heal's already used. This could be dangerous. Get the stun off, flashing away. Memento with the counter-strike and the leap in. Gets another stun off, and Samux is running for his life. He's healed up just enough. He's out.
Memento with the first gank here. Flashed out of the headbutt from Totoro, but could not kill Samux. 3 summoners down, though.
Yeah, it cost them very dearly to keep their bot lane alive, but no first blood over to Roccat. Meanwhile, bit of trading in the mid. Exile going very aggressive, looking for Blanc. He's got to be careful, though. Memento could be making a trip up to mid lane anytime.
Oh, he's looking for gank number 2 now.
Oh, no, he takes a tower.
That's the
And
classic.
Soldiers. Exile going deep. He's got a flash. He might have to use it, but just outside the range.
Not taking any chances here, knowing Exile can pull out of a stun as well, but the mid lane matchup is just Vladimir with enough sustain to be able to just stay near the minion waves and constantly try and push them. Azir can't really get the Vladimir low enough to try and kill him or force him out of lane, so Exile's just getting a lot of free farm at the moment. Gets his level 6 now as well. It's a good start from the Vlad.
Yeah, he's not the only one getting some nice and free gold.
Oh,
White Knight, and ooh! Memento goes in, doesn't get the interrupt. Let's talk about White Knight and his gold. He's been able to get a lot of free stuff on Bankplank 2.0 there with the Kleptomancy.
We got Nelson in the crowd as well.
Yeah. When that recall animation finishes right before you get there, that is simultaneously the worst and best feeling ever.
Wasn't there many years ago you could kind of follow the recall if you like leaped onto it or something just when it's ended, and you would like follow it to the fountain?
No, that was on the All-Stars ARAM match.
Yeah, that one definitely.
That's why we made the Froggen rule.
I think it happened
Like twice.
early in the game as well. Many years ago.
Projectiles can still follow sometimes.
Yeah, they can definitely follow and slow you down or hit you in the face. Cold is here to unleash some experience. Classic junglers, always stealing from the mid laners.
Yeah, I guess that much hasn't changed about him. All right, Exile going forward, looking for Blanc.
I like how Cold walks into the mid lane, doesn't even want to gank, and Exile just runs straight at Blank and is like, yeah, I guess might as well get something out of this. And Blank is forced out.
It's like when you've got your whole group of friends around you and you're like, hey, want to start a fight? Want to go?
There's always one friend in the back who's kind of just not really joining the fight, he's just yelling a lot.
He's just there, you know?
Yeah, and he's getting everyone, you know, hyped up.
That's Cold.
Insults the other guy, starts the fight, then he backs out. What I would do if me and Medic ever, you know, together got in a fight against someone, I would just stand behind Medic, and I would be the guy being like, yeah, F all of you.
So he's the... Well, at least you just said F. So he's your Braum, basically.
He's my Braum. I would stand behind Medic, that's for sure.
I guess it's fair. All right, now Exile's getting a little bit punished, but Vlad's health bar is probably one of the most deceptive things in the game. It goes up, it goes down. Maybe it goes more down if you're Exile.
No, in this game he is doing just fine in this lane.
Let's go.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay,
Halo play.
okay.
Hello. Okay, he forces a slide and glide back from Blanc.
Oh, Blanc is still feeling safe enough. We're still waiting for level 6 in that bot lane.
Yep,
Then
it's almost there.
Cole's level 6 is here. We talked about how they need these ultis. He's on his way bottom side. Might just be to give a blue buff to his mid laner. Or is it for a gank against Noscaron, who's sitting without flash? He's waiting in the lane. If we can show Cole down in that bottom lane. Sneaky, sneaky, he's on the way.
Okay.
All right, Noscaron, no flash.
Are they going to go for Norscaron? That's the question. Now Samix waiting
got
in the
ult.
brush. Throws a couple more shots and he pulls out. Face
Oh,
call
they
looking
want him.
for both. AD carry and support. There's the hop. There's the jump. An instant exhaust on a Cold. But you've got to think that's going to be first blood. Pulling out those Ren stats.
I like the lane gank here, Memento.
Here we go.
Knocked away this time around.
Nice job by Totoro. And Blanc was even there a little bit too late. So this is going to be free farm for Exile. Great start for the Unicorns.
And that's why Unicorns wanted that level 6 first. So they really start looking for the action. Meanwhile, Roccat are still just farming with this comp here. A lot of scaling on their side. Profit does win in terms of CS, but it doesn't matter for Gangplank as long as he just keeps staying in lane.
Yeah, he doesn't need the CS. He's got the gold anyway.
Yeah, he'll get fed enough with that Klepto on his side.
It's just sitting on the Sheen and the stopwatch for now. Now Hikyu pops the ace in the hole.
That's just rude.
Harass Samix at point blank range.
Tower diving him, pretty risky.
Yeah, he's not got enough mana to really do much else in traps, but he's got Norscaron there, who hasn't quite hit level 6 yet, by the way. That was the level advantage that allowed them to do that. And the exhaust was burned in the engage, but nice play by Cold. He's back in mid lane, by the way, and he's just going to do another wave buy.
He likes to just walk in just when there's a wave Exile's killing. It's like, oh, sorry. Was that your experience?
Well, now he's going in counter jungle duty. Memento is going to find him here. Let's see if he can get in and get out without being detected.
This is how Cinderhold Jack's coming.
He's going to have to fight for it.
Oh,
Gets a stun off. Let's see. Exile going in, Tides of Blood. Was it the bait or who's baiting who? Norscaron's coming in. Exile's got the pool on. He might have to use that flash. He does. Real quick call to Forge
Profit.
One direction, the other, and he goes golden, but the rest of Roccat have caught back on. Glacial Pressure. Oh, man, that mid lane. Wrong neighborhood, Exile.
They really want to kill Exile right there. Bot lane, though, we have Unicorns pushing for the turret. 2 members from Roccat on the way down to try and fight them.
Might be able to do it.
Well,
They're going to be chased away for now.
Memento this time realizes. Doesn't want to go bot lane again. Cold gets the whole mid lane on his own for once.
Yeah,
No,
now he earns the experience.
Now he gets it for Rio, but
Okay.
we still look at Memento. He's so active on his Jack here. I really like to see this pick in the UOL because, again, you can fight, you can be tanky, and you can gank. And he's doing it with the Cinderhold. Meanwhile, bot lane, no stun getting connected.
Now, if he does decide to go and dive in the bottom side, he's going to have to contend with the ward. Of course, Totoro
Yeah, no.
already pushed him back once. I don't think he's going to aim for it.
No, you can't tower dive this. Samix will sit with the stopwatch, and there's an Alistar with CC. It's too risky.
Let's take a look at the last play again, where Cold starts out by getting his steal on.
Yeah, it actually
Exile.
starts, Cole kind of gets caught at first, and then Exile tries to go in and deal some damage, which
It's a good flash, though.
ended up costing him a lot. Yeah, I think Exile, the moment Cold walked away, could have maybe not looked for actually some damage, and Roccat shows how much they absolutely hate Vladimir mid. And they use everything to kill him.
Yeah. Travis stake through his heart. Now Prophet
look
goes
at
in,
Tool.
looks for White Knight.
Just
Shoots him in
missing
the
that
face
one.
back.
The range is actually much bigger than you expect on that little stun when you smack into a wall. So it's kind of make it difficult to play against Ornn, but this one here, White Knight did dodge around it. Also, we'll have the orange, worst case.
Well, in White Knight, he's not necessarily looking to just dominate the lane, right? I mean, he's got his Trinity Force now completed.
Yeah,
The late
GP just
game
farms.
damage on Gangplank is insane.
That's why we're going to have some pretty sick team fights between the teams here. Unicorns trying to look for flanks with Vladimir and Rengar. On the other side of Roccat, they're trying to protect Hikyu and Blank in the late game fights. It's going to be fun to watch one team attacking from 2 different angles and the other one trying to just stay as a group and see if they can survive long enough.
It's going to really test the Unicorns' ability to execute on those fights, though, because that was one of the big critiques we had for this
yeah, it
team,
was
is
rough.
that they've had a really hard time coordinating on all the levels we wanted to see. Now, Exile, here's a familiar scene. Memento going for the collapse, and Counter-Strike gets the stun off. Sand Soldier's there. The pool's in, teleport, and they've even got the Cannon Barrage. Cold wants to turn it around, but the Emperor's Divide shoves him back. No one's down.
See, Summoners used right there. Only the TP from White Knight. Cancel though, so we'll be ready fairly soon again. I like the gank once again from Memento, but Cold was there to defend. But it doesn't mean there's no GP ulti now, so White Knight is not adding a lot of value for his team at the moment. He's just farming, and without the ulti, he can't really help on the other side either. Giving another chance for Memento to try and pull off the gank either mid or bot lane. That one.
Oh, wow. Prophet, he wants to go all in here. He's got to be careful, White Knight. He's got his flash, doesn't want to have to use it in the 1v1. Speaking of teleport, Prophet, he's almost got his off cooldown, so that's going to be a big advantage opportunity for Roccat to try and make a play here.
Yeah, they could try and do something bot, even if it is difficult against the stopwatch and the Alistar. There is a chance to try and get the bot lane tier 1 tower down if they want to, because of the global advantage, but they need to send Memento down here if they want to do that. Right now he's just doing a full clear on top side. So it will be just in a minute's time if they're aiming for a play like that. Cloud Drake is also an option, even though it sucks. It is there, you can take it.
Whoa, Deficio.
Sorry.
That's the Drake that makes you go fast.
It's not as great as the other Drakes.
Ah, okay. Well, that's your opinion. But anyways, for the time being, Roccat don't seem like they need to pull the trigger. You talked about late game damage, you talked about scaling. They've definitely still got that in spades.
And Memento, instead of going bottom lane, says, you know what, our top lane is winning at the moment. I can just go for Rift Herald. Does give a chance for Cold if he was around to stop it, but he's on bottom side, looking for something on his own. Ulti is ready in like 25 seconds on his side, or 20 seconds to correct that one. But Memento did not get spotted here, so he gets his Rift Herald.
All right, Rift Herald picked up on the solo. No scaring EQ. Just going to back out. Alistair's incoming. I don't think they're going to fancy a dive here. Oh, maybe they do. That tower's a little low. EQ must know something's up.
And there's no stopwatch on Hikyu's side, so it is definitely a lot easier to actually kill this bot lane on the turret.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to take this. He's got to back out.
So,
North Scaren's here, though. Maybe they can do it.
But Cold is around, and Exile is here as well. Now Memento's coming bot, as we talked about before.
Totro's tanking. They're going to look for it. Gets the trample on. Teleport coming around the side. Totro's incredibly low here, but the TP is going to pull him back. Prophet incoming, and it's the call of the Forge God. They decide to turn their attention over to the Yorn, and they almost have him down already, and it looks like White Knight is going to get him from downtown.
So Roccat actually did try and make a play on bottom side, but it was after Unicorns just killed that turret. And they get Prophet down while White Knight is still farming top lane. No one is touching him now. He's going to get a turret here unless Blank moves up.
Yeah, White Knight is just like, hey team, thanks for the assist. I got this up top. Blank's coming. I don't know if he's going to be able to do much in time, though.
But now mid lane is getting pushed in, so Unicorns of Love, huge play for them in the bot lane. Not only did they get turret, they get a kill, they get a TP. Ton of damage on this top lane tower as well. 3,000 gold lead all of a sudden for the Unicorns of Love.
Yeah. Well, we talked about coordination in fights, but coordination in play calling as well. This Unicorns looks a lot better than what we've seen in the last 3 games.
And this was, part of this was due to the investment and the time Memento spent soloing down the Rift Herald. Meant that he couldn't be bot lane and try and prevent this from happening and use that TP advantage effectively. Because he's on his way now from base after recalling. This play is so good from Unicorns of Love because they see the TP come in and then they pull in the Alistar and just throw him right at Prophet. And then they actually get that kill. Plus they already got the turret.
Yeah, that was sick, in all honesty. Unicorns Love building themselves up a deserved 3,000 gold lead with that second kill. Nearly knocking down another tower up top as White Knight had a lot of free farm. And wouldn't you know it, that gold lead started to creep up out of control for him.
White Knight also got a kill with his ulti.
Yep.
So he's up 1,500 gold over this Ornn here. Things suddenly looking great for Unicorns of Love. Cold's ulti is soon ready again. Every time it's been up, we've had some action. We've seen him active on the map. He is going for Duskblade first. We'll just get the Cloud Drake for now. They've already moved Exile to the other side, and with his TP, Blank cannot match. He's sitting with Ghost, with Cleanse, with Heal. Goddamn summon spells.
I mean, I guess you don't have to memorize them when the spellbook is there.
With summoner spells that are not teleport is what I'm trying to say. And then he will just sit and hold mid. So right now Unicorns should have the map pressure with the winning top, with the winning bot. And they have Alistar Rengar to keep forcing picks. This is great for Unicorns.
Yeah, and it also makes it hard for Memento to utilize the Eye of the Rift Herald that he picked up earlier on.
And he spent so much time on getting it.
Yeah. I mean, it's running low. He's got about, geez, only a few more minutes to try and use it. Now Memento is actually going to get caught by holding Totoro. Hops over the wall. Back over to a ward. But yeah, this is looking so good for Unicorns right now.
Oh, they're fighting. They're not fighting. Fighting wards. Kill the ward.
Great play-by-play.
That's what I do, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to take your job.
Okay. So what you're saying is I need to get like Diamond 5 as soon as possible.
That's on you, Pyre.
Okay.
You don't have to be Diamond 5. You can just
Get good.
watch a lot of odds and talk to a lot of players and say a lot of fluff statements like I do, and then it's great.
I think you're too hard on yourself.
Like, you gotta kill that Nexus, man. That's the most important thing.
That is the objective.
And also, you gotta engage!
That's another objective. Look at Kento! Oh! Totro's giving his life for the cause.
No,
Oh,
he can't pull
will
in.
he? He's
Saxo.
just walking through the team.
Callisto,
Samus,
Callisto.
he's gonna get pulled up to Callisto. He's gonna go down. Double kill for the Jax. That's gonna be good for Roccat. Getting their revenge for the Rift Herald. Stopping Exile. Getting chunked under tower. Now there's another chance for them to keep going here on the mid lane. 18 minutes. Roccat start turning these tables.
What a turnaround, man. He saw that play. Interrupt the Rift Herald, get pulled back by the Callista, but then all of Roccat actually changed and started CCing Samus. So he couldn't use the ulti. That was super sick, how they actually just got 2 kills and mid lane turret. This game is just swinging back and forth.
Yeah, it's starting to get interesting. Now,
I like
UOL
it.
still holding a pretty significant gold lead, but we gotta
Alright.
take a look at that again.
All right, so interrupt the Rift Herald. Memento spent a ton of time getting it. Interrupt. Then he hopes he can get pulled back and saved by Samus. But the moment Samus tries to get close, he gets knocked back, so he's forced to use the stopwatch. And then he gets knocked up instantly by Noscaron on this Braum here. And then both of them actually die.
I actually want to point out, we don't often always talk about like support mechanics and things like that, but Noscaron on Braum has been a beast. When he's been up against Ornn, he's blocked just about every single call of the Forge God. The reaction times are insane. I mean, this guy entering the LCS, we talked about a lot of hot rookies, but I think he was the one that might not have raised as many eyebrows, but he should be.
I think just a lot of the new names in the ULCS have done very well here in the start, much better than we could expect for a lot of them. Normally, as a rookie, you want a bit of time, you need a few weeks to get used to the stage and the environment. But a lot of these guys have come in and just instantly look good. Like on this team, we have, as you just highlighted, Noscaron. We've seen Ruin on Giants, Tagamas as well.
And a lot of it is, down to...
And we can't forget Jizuke and Minitroopa on the side of Vitality.
Well, they're coming up next. We'll talk about them soon enough. All right, Prophet getting chased down by Exile. Yeah, I wanted to say a lot of it, honestly, is in line with what we heard from Freddy 122. I interviewed him on the opening day, talking about his team. They said they needed some time. They have a lot of potential in this squad to unlock. A lot of players that people overlooked.
But everyone
clearly,
says that, right?
Yeah, but he delivered, man. Oh, his team delivered.
Much earlier than expected.
Yeah.
If he wanted time, well, they're 2-1 already.
Well, clearly, the time was like about 30 seconds from when he said it.
Smart.
Yeah, okay, White Knight. He tries to get the minion clear on. He is going to be able to do it. DQ tanking a few tower shots as the Cannon Barrage finishes off.
Meanwhile, Samus, most of the Unicorns pushing in mid. Cold is also just down here near the Raptor camp. Exile just stopped his recall. They're looking for a potential tower dive, but they need to see the Roccat dual lane first. So now they're all recalling. They will see the dual lane back top lane, and sadly it is too late. Unicorns already completed their recalls. No one can hit White Knight with these Braum Qs. He walks away, but this tower will die very soon unless Unicorns can defend it. And teams are just pulling each other around. Roccat trying to pull Unicorns to top side to defend this one. That allows Blank to then push in mid and recall. Meanwhile, Unicorns are now going top to actually defend. And let's see if Roccat wants to react and do anything. Cold is on the other side of the map, so there's not a lot of kill pressure right now for Unicorns.
Yeah. Cold has been a little bit off in the last couple of minutes, moving around in places where Roccat aren't. But, I mean, as you mentioned, pulling people around, it's just because Rocket's been so darn sneaky about it. Here he goes. Speaking of sneaky.
Roccat at the moment... I need to see what he's
another tour of mid lane.
HiQ is not getting his vintage yet. Other side, you have Blade and Hurricane already completed. Callista is much stronger than the Caitlyn at this point in the game. If Unicorns can keep forcing fights, they should be able to win them as well. And Rocket's way to kind of try and prevent that is often buy a ton of control wards, defend vision-wise as much as possible. And they are the team, as you guys can see up in the top to the left, they are the team who places the most control wards in the EULCS. Look at the inventory. 3 on the support, 1 on top, 1 on AD carry, 2 on jungler. So they invest a lot into this. It's a big thing for Roccat as a team. And all that information normally means they don't get too surprised by picks. But now there is a Rengar ult and there is an Alistar who can get thrown over a wall. So you gotta be extra careful when you're moving around.
Yeah, and that is control wards, just to be specific. Not leave any doubts in anyone's mind. And for the Unicorns, I think that number, comparing that, saying, oh, they're actually the lowest team in the league for buying those wards. It kind of explains to you a little bit why they've had such hard time sniffing out opponents the last couple of games. And I feel like a lot of that, you know, they're feeling the loss of Hylissang.
Funny enough, though, with Unicorns, they've never been a team that cared much about vision. I'm not sure if Sheepy hates control wards and he tells his team never to buy them, or if it's just all the different laners are just not used to being in a situation where they have to do it. Like in this game, Doran's shield is there for Exile, so he can't buy anything. Top lane, there's a corruption potion, so White Knight can't buy any control wards. And Samus typically doesn't really do it, so that's why they get less. They can fight, though.
There is that tower dive, yeah. You don't need the vision as long as you're diving in the lane anyways.
That's
Tower's
why
going down.
the answer was always go mid for Unicorns, because then you can see everything if you just keep running at the enemy in the mid lane, and then you don't need vision on the sides.
And you know, we joke about it, but surprisingly it worked quite a lot.
It did. This team never missed playoffs, the Unicorns of Love. Had bad starts before and then bounced back fairly quickly during the regular season and still made it into top 6. They're looking to do the same in this one, down 0-3 in the UOL CS. This looks to be the game where they can get their first win.
Going to have to finish it off, of course. You mentioned earlier the secret, very important analysis. The Nexus is the most important objective. The Unicorns got to get that one if they want to actually start getting on the board.
And that's what they learned against Spice last week.
That was close, man.
Unicorns of Love was winning that game for 97% of it. And that's not a random number. It was 97% of it. They were in a goal lead. And then they lost the game due to a base race by like 50 HP.
That I believe they started as well. It's kind of hard to tell, though. At that point, everything was absolute insanity.
Both teams committed to it.
Yeah.
Unicorns almost managed to win that one.
And that's a heartbreaker, too, when you're already having trouble in games early on in the split. But as you pointed out, Unicorns have bounced back before. They've reformed rosters before.
Oh, and look at this. Memento did not go for the full tank Jax act. He wanted the Trinity Force instead because he got 2 early kills. Sterix might come in from him then as the second full completed item, just to combine the Sterix tankiness and base damage increase with the Trinity Force.
So
and then go tank after that.
Does this tell you that he's going to be looking for more side push for the time being? No, don't answer that yet. There's a fight. Norscarin getting the knockup, looking for more, and it's Chaos in the mid lane. Exile in the middle trying to hunt down HeQ, but he's going to get stopped up and taunted. Tides of Blood, Ace in the hole. Totoro wants to intercept it. HeQ's going to finish him off. And with the Forge Guy rampaging through, there was nothing the Unicorns could do. Cold looking for an angle, but he couldn't quite find one. And in the end, Prophet picks up a double. White Knight is here to pick up the pieces of his team.
That was a very big team fight for Roccat here. They just went mid against the Unicorns of Love. They found the engage they were looking for. Baron, 25 minutes in being started. White Knight's still full HP.
Yeah, Cold's still here. He's got Flash if he needs it to try and get the theft off, but Roccat getting the Baron down. Can Cold do it? Looking for the hop in. Norscarin, he finds a Winter's Bite. Proc, he may not have a chance. They're going to chase him off. The stun. They have almost all the damage they need. He doesn't have a chance to get in. White Knight, last-ditch effort, not going to happen. So Roccat, grab the fight, get the Baron, and go home.
And this is why Roccat are currently 2-1 in the UOL CS. Late game, they have some really good calls. The start of the team fight here, it's a good setup where HeQ gets a lot of free damage onto the Alistar, and then when the engage happens, notice how 4 members of Roccat are already here, ready to take the fight. HeQ flashes out, stays alive, Exile gets stunned, and now the backline, we talked about this much earlier, as long as Rocket's backline stays safe, they can deal enough damage to kill Unicorns of front line, and that's exactly what happened here. HeQ did not die, Blank was barely touched. They win the fight here as White Knight wasn't even there, ready to join. That was a different kind of dap.
Yeah.
Oh, he's more like...
Norscarin has quite a compilation of emotes already, but yeah, you can look at how lopsided that fight.
We're ready every single time he's doing something now. We will show it.
You could look at how lopsided that fight was with Exile doing the lion's share of his team's damage, of course, because he was in the thick of it. But right now, Cold, he wasn't even involved. You saw him sniffing around the side. He didn't pull the trigger to try and dive bound past the tower for HeQ. And Roccat, they're just going to be getting the siege on. Totoro's almost taken down to 0.
And Roccat also not giving a chance for a potential steal here, getting a lot of damage on Cold, knocking him away. But funny enough, again, it was Unicorns that went for the re-engage. After we'd already started the fight, Roccat was only there with 2 members at first. Then suddenly the Alistar gets thrown in. Then Exile dives in without having White Knight and Cold there. Now more members are almost dying.
Yeah, okay. Let's see if Unicorns get the re-engage this time. Totaro's thrown in. They find Memento. He's going to go golden. The call of the Forge God's going to knock a few people back for a few seconds. Now Roccat trying desperately to escape, but it looks like Cold and Exile trying to cut them off, and it's a tight battle right here. This is going to be hard. Oh my goodness, Cold gets evaporated. Tides of blood, and everything is not enough for Exile to get a kill. That Hemoplague just wasn't virulent enough. Now Totoro going in for a third wind effort, but he is going to give his life, and battered and bruised, Roccat persevere.
Unicorns Aloft were looking for the flanks here with the Vladimir, with that Bringard. They tried to get onto Blank and Hikyu, but they didn't have the damage to kill him. Great Azir ulti from Blank once again. Cold is not able to assassinate anyone on this Rengar. The backline stays safe from Roccat, and they win another fight.
Scarier and scarier too is Memento. He's the one getting a lot of these kills after the fact, so he's not getting any weaker, and you can see why he picked up some of these items. Now Roccat, they're a little bit low, but it's going to be pretty easy for them to finish off an inhibitor down bottom side. Take the first of the game in 28 minutes, back out with that Baron-empowered recall, and Unicorns are left bleeding.
We have to see again with Unicorns Aloft. So let's remember, guys, Exile and Cold wants to flank in and get to Hikyu and Blank in the back line. The rest of Roccat want to stay together as a team and defend these two carries. Now Scaren's ulti blocks off Exile and Cold at first, and then let's see what happens when they actually jump in. Blank is ready with ult. When he sees the Rengar, instantly knocks him away and kills him. Exile then can't get in and actually get enough damage on the back line. Great defense from Roccat, and now they can just re-engage and pick up more kills. Good team fighting once again.
And we're just seeing the better coordination from Rockat's side in the late game, and visible frustration on the face of Cold after that. He just can't find an opening in these fights, and Roccat, they're deathballing up for a reason.
But one thing for Unicorns is they need to time the engage from the Alistar with the Rengar and the Vladimir coming in at the same time. Otherwise, it's too easy for Roccat to just knock Cold away and deny him an entrance. But the ulti or the engage was used near that tier 2 tower much earlier in the fight. Cold and Exile had to run all the way around the Grump camp before they got in range to do something. And that allowed Blank to just save ulti, save it, and only use it when the Rengar jumps.
Yeah. Huge credit to Blank here for knowing exactly what he needed to do in the right time. Hasn't died this game. In fact, most of the team hasn't died this game. If you're Roccat, only the support, only the top lane. Let's see.
Oh, big one. That's the next game.
Oh yeah, we do. It's a hype matchup.
Undefeated Vitality taking on Misfits.
World's Contenders Misfits.
World's Contenders, that's very true.
As well as Summer Split finalists, so last year, of course, it is a slightly different squad. Like most teams here in Europe, Vitality being no exception. Now, back into this one though, Roccat, the siege is on, 4 members strong. They may not have the Baron anymore, but they certainly don't need it. A handful of minions seems to be all they require to try and keep this push going, and Unicorns, they're cowed inside the base. Meanwhile, Prophet pushing in the middle up against White Knight, and Unicorns, this base is crumbling.
And flanking gets harder and harder when you push this far into your base. There's no way for Cold and Exile to really get behind Roccat. They can see them right in front of them. That's exactly where Roccat wants to be. Perfect situation for them. Can they get down the last inhib turret? That's a no for now. We might get a fight.
There's the cutoff. White Knight looking for the cannon barrage, but do they have enough damage right now? Norscarin hopping back. Hemoplague is on.
That's a big one
to go through. That is huge right now. Can they get the kills? Cold goes gold. Let's see if they can fire off enough damage. It doesn't look like it. Roccat managed to stay alive. The death ball will live.
Unicorns Aloft cannot kill the Roccat backline. Another team fight in their favor. 11-2 in total kills. They already got super minions here. They're going for the finish, and we're only 31 minutes into the game.
That was the last-ditch effort from the Unicorns, but unfortunately they will not be able to find victory today. Dropping down to 0-4 after all said and done. The last Nexus turret going to get fired down. Totoro, Samix, White Knight desperately trying to keep this one alive. Norscarin, he's walking it out. It's nice and easy. Roccat once again have not lost a man, and they close this one out. 31.5.
Great team fighting from Roccat, understanding how to win the fights every time. They never were the ones who went super aggressive on Unicorns to try and dive onto Samix. No, they ignored Samix for most of it. They played back, they defended with the Braum first and then the Azir ulti. Great game from Norscarin again. We gotta highlight that on the Braum, but also from Blank. And how he saves that Azir ulti. It's so key against a comp that wants to dive in and try and kill that backline. And we gotta say it for Unicorns Aloft. Synergy in team fights up there.
It was better this time around. but it just wasn't enough. And once the game got to the late stages, Roccat slipped into that comfort zone and reacted with incredible precision. All credit to this team going up 3-1 near the top of the table after very few people predicted they would.
We now have Giants, we have Roccat, we have Vitality all sitting at the top in the UOL CS.
The rise of the underdogs, man, it's a real story.
Definitely true, definitely true. And Unicorns of Love fall down to 0-4. The only team in the UOL CS to not win a game yet. And a lot of things to work on for this squad. But Roccat gets the team fight in mid lane. Funny enough, started by Unicorns.
Yeah. Which is kind of the case.
Win the fight, 5v3, take the Baron cleanly. And then from there on and out, they knew exactly what to do in every single fight, and it never felt like Unicorns had a chance to win the game after that. Well, Roccat, they were down after the early game.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
No, that's the thing. Like, a lot of teams, a lot of newer teams too. You know, there's some fresh faces, of course. There's some more experienced ones, but not always gaining a lot of the note that a lot of other players have throughout the history of LCS. These guys want to make their mark, and they're clearly demonstrating that they have nerves of steel to be able to come back into a game after being down, honestly, never looking uncomfortable.
Exactly, and Jungle Jacks.
Yeah.
Finally in Europe.
Oh, it's
Memento,
fantastic.
thank you very much for playing Jungle Jacks. I
Well,
also respect the build with Trinity Force and Sterix. Want to go for some more kills?
He did such a good job that he's going to be one of those options for the player of the game. And our analysts have picked out not only Memento, but Blanc and Narskarin as candidates for player of the game. So head over to @LOL Esports on Twitter. Vote for your favorite. We're going to highlight that one after the break. I mean, Deficia, who would you give that to? Because I feel like Roccat altogether looked pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm probably on either Blanc or Narskarin for this game here. I think Blanc had a flawless performance, 100% kill participation. Funny enough, Narskarin also 100%.
Yeah, I mean, when this guy's on Braum,
him.
it's insane, and like people aren't banning it away from him right now. So
I mean, it's just a game that came down to team fighting, and I think those two guys really stood out. Memento, of course, had a pretty clean Jax game. So 3 good candidates. Pretty hard to pick the best one.
I know. Well, we'll see what Twitter thinks after that. But yeah, I mean, Roccat, I thought at the beginning of the day, Giants, hey man, it looks so good. Can Roccat live up to it? Well, they certainly delivered. Now, in just a few minutes, Law is going to check in with Narskarin to get some insight on Rockat's win, and we also have the rising stars of Vitality going up against Last Blitz finalist Misfits Gaming. So don't you go anywhere. They load up, and of course, the Unicorns faithful always making noise in the crowd. That's when he pulls out face call, looking for both.